Well, a new horror film has hit the screen, and we will see. Is it going to be a new cult classic, like something like It Follows or Cabin in the Woods? Or is it something we're going to forget about? Well, let's find out. Alright guys, gals, and everything in between, I'm here today to review for you Malignant. So Malignant stars Annabelle Wallis and George Young, and it follows a woman who is somehow intertwined with some supernatural entity, and a detective is trying to help her figure out what's going on because people are dying. The first thing I gotta say about this film, I thought it was really neat seeing it set in the city of Seattle, and they actually use a teeny tiny bit of Seattle folklore from Seattle Underground. For those of you who don't know, there was a massive fire in Seattle back in the day, like way back in the day, destroyed the entire city. So their solution was they were going to put a bunch of dirt and basically bury Seattle and then build a new one on top of it. So you can actually go down into these dark caverns, and you'll just see buildings, and you realize you're way underground, and there's just a city there. It's super fascinating, but there's some lore that some people say that that people that got buried under that they haunt that place, and it's evil spirits, or they're angry. And is this a haunted ghost movie? Kind of for a minute. Then it becomes something else. The first 5 minutes of this movie, I went, oh hey, it's a really bad episode of The X-Files. And then I realized it was directed by James Wan, who, if I'm not mistaken, did X-Files episodes. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's great. The first 5 minutes plays out like a bad episode of The X-Files. Then it turns into every ghost haunted house style movie. For like a minute, though. A minute. I was really, really on board in the first third, where I was like, okay, I see some really good tension and potential here. And then they do nothing with it because they have a scene that's in a lot of these horror films, and I won't spoil it, where in that exact moment, you know everything about this plot and everything that's going to happen, and anybody who tells you that a quote-unquote twist in this film is such a shock, literally is trying to sell you something, because it's blatantly obvious. They actually almost to a T tell you the exact plot very early on, and I that moment happened and I went, oh, okay. And after that, you pretty much get a generic, like, slasher flick almost, where it's not quite a ghost story, but it's not quite a slasher flick. There's these cool transition shots where she's going from, like, one house to another and all of that. That was really neat, and it was shot very well. The special effects shots with the quote-unquote monster was pretty cool. He looks like the character looks good enough. Then you definitely see those bad episodes of the X-Files elements just bleeding in, and it creates this hodgepodge mess. Now, I don't think this film is absolutely just terrible, but in no way do I think this is a cult classic or should be by any stretch of the imagination. I think it's just a throwaway horror film, frankly. I never once felt scared. And again, you can predict the plot to a T. George Young, that detective guy, he absolutely was amazing. I loved every scene he was in. I was like, okay, this is cool. Then the last third of the film happens, and you're like, what? It almost turns into a superhero film, and it just doesn't make sense. And I don't know, the film feels like it's a Frankenstein of a couple different ideas, and I think James Wan, who's actually done some legitimately good stuff recently, I think this is a miss for him personally. Do I think it's absolutely abhorrent and offensive to watch and you're just like, I hate this? No, but is it that movie that I watched and went, yeah, okay, that was a movie? Yes, that is exactly what it was. It is just generic to me. Like, there was nothing special about it. They did do some cool things with color. I'm trying to give them a fair shake here, if you can't tell. This movie didn't make me want my refund or to walk off the top of the theater, but it also didn't make me say, I gotta watch this again, ever. So, yeah, Okay, there's a movie that has similar concepts to this one, not in terms of the exact novelty of what the twist is, but in terms of how the story is told, where there was a film called Dark Floors back in the day, and that had similar, not exact, but similar aspects, but it was done infinitely better. And that's where I'm like, I see the potential, I see what they were going for. But this is ultimately just a rewrite of a bad episode of The X-Files. So take that as you will. And I love The X-Files, but there were some episodes that I was like, God damn, dude. This film is fine at background noise. Alright, guys, gals, and everything in between, have you seen Malignant? I went after I saw the movie and found out that this is being hailed as like some amazing new, like, taste of horror. I don't see it. If you guys disagree with me, that's perfectly fine. It did nothing for me, honestly. So, don't forget to like and subscribe. I got plenty more videos coming to you. Hit that bell notification. It's what the hip kids are doing. Love you guys.